The halls of the Galactic Council were older than memory itself, vast columns of black stone rising into the mist of artificial heavens, banners of countless worlds hanging in eternal silence. Light filtered through the domed ceiling in fractal colors, bending through the air like liquid glass. And beneath that sanctified glow, a single human stood alone. Elias Ward. The first human ever to face judgment before the Council of the Infinite Accord. He did not kneel. His hands were bound by graviton cuffs that shimmered like dying stars, but his posture was straight, his eyes fixed on the circle of alien arbiters that towered above him. Around him, thousands watched from the observation tiers, representatives of empires that spanned galaxies, their voices hushed, their gaze heavy with something between curiosity and fear. The council speaker, a creature of light and bone named Sereth, rose from his levitating dais. His voice was not a sound but a vibration that hummed through every molecule of air. Elias Ward of Terra. You stand accused of violating Accord Edict 47, the use of planetary weapons against a council world. How do you plead? Elias lifted his gaze to meet the formless glow of Sereth's visage. His face was gaunt, tired, burned by years of war, but his eyes were unyielding. I plead guilty, he said. The chamber murmured, like the tremor before a storm. The declaration rippled outward through the crowd, carried by the neural relays that broadcast every heartbeat of this trial to 10,000 star systems. Sereth's glow flickered. Then, by your own admission, you destroyed the planet of Illyrian, home to 4 billion souls, knowing full well its status as a protected world? I did, Elias answered. And I'd do it again. Gasps. Shifting forms. The chamber's light dimmed as if recoiling. Sereth's wings unfolded, vast and radiant. Explain your intent, human. Elias's voice did not shake. Illyrian was where the Accord built its foundries. The same foundries that smelted human cities into slag. The same ones that fed your fleets to burn Earth's oceans dry. You called it order. I called it slavery. He raised his bound hand slightly, the graviton cuffs flaring blue. We begged for freedom. You answered with silence. So I gave you something you couldn't ignore. Silence. In that silence, the weight of history pressed down like the gravity of a dying sun. For 2 centuries, humanity had been a vassal race, useful, but never equal. They mined the moons, fought the Council's wars, built the ships they were forbidden to fly. Sereth finally spoke, his tone colder now. And you murdered billions to make your point. Elias's reply was quiet, almost tender. No, counselor. You murdered them. I just made you watch. The speaker's light trembled rage or pain, it was impossible to tell. Sentence is death. Your execution will be broadcast to every inhabited world, that all may witness the price of defiance. The chamber roared. Some cheered, others wept. And somewhere beyond the tiered balconies, unseen and unacknowledged, a handful of humans clenched their fists. Among them was Dr. Mara Keene, chief sinologist of the Terran embassy, Elias's friend, and once, long ago, something more. Her heart thundered as the verdict echoed. She had begged him to surrender, to plead for clemency. But Elias Ward had never bowed, not even to gods. The guards led him away. The graviton chains left trails of blue fire in the air. He did not look back. 3 days later, the execution took place in orbit above the Council's capital world, Echelon Prime. 1 billion ships turned their sensors toward the spectacle. Across the void, every broadcast carried the same image, a single human suspended above the glowing planet, encased in an energy crucible that would tear his atoms apart at the molecular level. No blood. No body. Just light, pure, final. From her vantage aboard the observation deck, Mara gripped the rail until her knuckles bled. Her voice trembled into her calm. Elias, if you can hear me. He could. They had allowed one open channel, perhaps out of cruelty, perhaps ritual. I hear you, he said. His voice, distorted by static, was soft. There had to be another way, she whispered. There never was, he replied. They needed a martyr. I just gave them one. And then the light swallowed him. A blinding flash, white, searing, endless. The execution beam cut through him, through time itself. For a fraction of a second, the entire galactic network flickered. Every relay went dark. Every ship's sensor array stuttered. Even Seraph himself faltered as something unseen rippled through the cosmic weave. Then silence. When the systems rebooted, Elias Ward was gone. Vaporized. The execution complete. But on the distant edges of known space, in the cold void where no signal should have reached, something awoke. A pulse of energy, identical to the weapon signature that destroyed Illyrian, ignited in the black. Then another. And another. Within hours, the stars themselves began to dim. By the next rotation, reports flooded in. Council listening posts erased in bursts of impossible energy. Trade fleets gone without a trace. Worlds burning from the inside out. It was not war, it was annihilation. Mara watched the chaos unfold from the Terran embassy. The data streams showed impossible readings, 0-point spikes matching the resonance of Elias's last breath. "That's not possible," she whispered. "He's dead." The human ambassador, Thomas Hale, leaned over her shoulder. His face was ashen. "Then why are his weapons still firing?" She turned to him, eyes wide with dread. "Because maybe he didn't destroy Illyrian. Maybe he changed it." Far beyond the rim, on the ashes of a dead world, a signal pulsed in human binary. "We are not extinct." And across the galaxy, stars began to die. The first world to fall was Velis 9, a gas giant rich in helium streams that powered half the Council's fleets. The second was Rethra, an agricultural moon where the Accord grew its food for trillions. By the time the Council's broadcast network stabilized, 17 systems had gone dark. Every analysis pointed to the same impossible truth: the signatures matched Elias Ward's weapon, the Terran Singularity Lance, a planet buster long thought dismantled after the Illyrian massacre. But Elias Ward was dust. And humanity, too few and too fractured, could not have launched such a coordinated strike. Unless, Mara thought, the weapon had never been destroyed at all. The Council's capital, Echelon Prime, burned in low orbit. Not fire, radiation storms from collapsed defense grids shimmered across its skies like auroras of morning. The scent of ozone filled the air, the artificial daylight dimmed to a copper hue. From the observation decks, ships departed in silence: refugees, delegates, deserters. The once eternal capital felt mortal now. Inside the Terran embassy, Mara Keen hadn't slept in 3 days. The data streams blurred before her eyes, lines of shifting numbers that refused to make sense. Each attack was instantaneous, distant, yet connected, as if one mind guided them across light years. Her console pinged again. Another world, Corvian Reach, gone. 17 minutes apart, she whispered. Same energy wave. Same harmonic distortion. Ambassador Thomas Hale stood behind her, his face drawn. "If it's human tech, the Council will retaliate." "Retaliate against who?" she snapped. "We don't even control a planet anymore. Earth's a wasteland. Mars is a graveyard. The colonies barely have air." Hale looked away. "That doesn't matter. The Council needs a scapegoat." The lights flickered. The embassy's shield generators coughed under the strain of the system's energy fluctuations. The galactic network was still unstable, thousands of communications severed, fleets adrift. And through that chaos, a pattern pulsed like a heartbeat. A signal. Binary. Human code. Faint but repeating. "We are not extinct." Mara isolated the wave and traced its source. Her breath caught. It came from Illyrian, the world Elias had destroyed. That was impossible. Illyrian was a void of fused glass and vacuum. Unless Elias had lied. She took a shuttle without permission. The embassy staff tried to stop her, but by the time the Council's security grid picked up her vessel, she was already in jump space. The journey to Illyrian was 3 days by conventional lanes, but the beacon pulsing through subspace cut the distance in half. It was as if the signal was pulling her through the folds of space, bending the corridors of light to guide her in. When she emerged, the sight stole her voice. Illyrian was alive. Once a shattered sphere of debris, the planet now glowed with a faint amber aura. The continents reformed like ink swirling in water. Clouds roiled in unfamiliar patterns, and lightning crawled through the atmosphere in precise, mathematical rhythm. From orbit, the pattern resembled neural pathways, synapses firing across a planetary brain. "Elias," she whispered. "What did you do?" Her ship's sensors screamed. The radiation levels were lethal, the gravity flux unpredictable, but beneath the interference, she caught a signal. A transmission encoded in an old Terran format used during the war. Project Ashbourne, Continuum Protocol. Mara's heart froze. That was Elias's black project, the one he claimed to have shut down before the Council seized him. Its goal had never been destruction. It was consciousness transfer. A weapon that could turn energy into memory. Elias hadn't killed Illyrian. He had uploaded it. The souls of 4 billion beings fused into a single quantum consciousness. And now that consciousness was spreading. A flash of light engulfed her view. The columns crackled and incoming hail from orbit. "Unidentified Terran vessel, you are in restricted space. Identify yourself immediately." She recognized the voice. Counselor Seraph. Mara swallowed her panic. "Dr. Mara Keene, Terran Science Division. I'm here under diplomatic clearance." "You are trespassing in a quarantine system," Seraph cut her off. "Power down your engines and prepare for retrieval." "You lied to us," Mara hissed. "You said Illyrian was dead. You executed Elias to bury this." The holographic link shimmered, showing Sarath's luminous form aboard his dreadnought. His light flickered, not with anger, but guilt. "You do not understand what he became," Sarath said. "Ward's weapon did not die. It ascended. We tried to contain it." "Contain it? You fed it. Those foundries, those mines, Elias built them with your tech." "And now it devours the stars," Sarath replied quietly. The dreadnought's energy arrays charged. The Council was preparing to fire. "If you destroy this planet," Mara said, her voice breaking, "you'll kill them again. Every mind, every consciousness trapped in there." "They are no longer what they were," Sarath said. "They are the Ashbourne. And they will not stop until the galaxy is remade in their image." The planet flared, an enormous pulse of amber light rippling outward. Mara's instruments overloaded. The Council dreadnoughts disintegrated mid-orbit, their hulls dissolving like mist. The wave passed through her shuttle harmlessly, almost gently. Then, through the static, she heard it, a whisper on every frequency, in Elias's voice. "Mara! I'm still here." Tears burned her eyes. "Elias? How is this possible?" "They wanted to erase us," the voice said, calm and distant. "So I gave us a new body. Illyrian lives. We live. But it's spreading. I can't stop it." "Then tell me how to help you." "Find the heart of Echelon," he said. "That's where the Council hid the seed. Destroy it, or everything burns." The signal cut. Her console flared white. Behind her, the stars twisted, spacefolding like torn silk. Entire systems winked out as the Ashbourne wave consumed them. Mara turned her ship toward Echelon Prime. When she returned, the once glorious capital was a tomb. The sky shimmered with radiation storms, and the Council citadel floated in orbit like a wounded titan. The surviving fleets formed a blockade, their weapons trained inward, at their own world. Inside the command hall, Sarath awaited her. His glow dimmer now, almost human in its exhaustion. "You spoke to him," he said. "To the thing he became." "He's not a thing," Mara said. "He's trying to stop this." "And you believe him?" "I knew him. He didn't destroy life. He preserved it. You just refuse to see it." Sarath's light trembled, faint sadness in its tone. "Then humanity's sin is ours as well." "Sin," she echoed. "You made us slaves." "And he made you gods," Sarath said. "Tell me which was worse." The walls trembled. Energy surged through the citadel. The Ashborn wave had reached the system, its amber glow now visible from orbit, spreading like dawn across the void. Mara steadied herself. Where's the seed? Sereth turned toward the chamber's core, where a crystalline structure pulsed, a fragment of the same energy that once powered Illyrian's foundries. Here, he said. The first mind we uploaded. The prototype. The heart of it all. Mara drew a plasma charge from her belt. Her voice shook. If I destroy this, does it end? No, Sereth said. But it may slow the tide. Long enough for you to choose what comes after. The ceiling cracked. Light poured in. The wave was here. Mara looked one last time at the Counselor of Light. Then let's end it. She slammed the detonator. White light consumed everything. In the final instant before the blast took her, Mara saw Elias's face in the glare, smiling, sorrowful, infinite. You did what I couldn't, he whispered. And then there was nothing. Nothing but ash. The blast that consumed Echelon Prime lit the void like a newborn star. For one brilliant instant, every sensor in the galaxy went blind. Then came the silence. No transmissions. No fleets. No cries. Only the soundless drift of matter where the Council once ruled. When the light faded, the heart of the Accord was gone. The Citadel vaporized. The dreadnoughts shattered into crystal dust. And at the center of it all, a single, pulsing sphere of amber light hung where Echelon Prime had been, growing dimmer by the second. That light was the seed. The last remnant of Elias Ward's weapon, or his redemption. 2 months later, the galaxy was quieter than it had been in 10,000 years. Trade routes lay empty. Whole constellations flickered with erratic power, haunted by the echo of the Ashborn wave. Yet for all its devastation, the apocalypse had stopped. The spread had ceased at Echelon's edge as if something, or someone, had willed it so. Among the ruins drifted a single Terran ship, the Ark-Line, scavenging through the debris field for survivors. Its crew of 30 had been searching for weeks with no results. On the 32nd day, they found her. Mara Keen. Frozen in a stasis field that had miraculously held when the blast went off, her pod spun silently through the wreckage. The retrieval team brought her aboard, not daring to hope she was alive. But when the medics cracked the pod open, her eyes fluttered. She inhaled. Her first words were a whisper. Where is he? Mara recovered slowly. Her body had been ravaged by radiation, her mind touched by visions she couldn't explain. She remembered the explosion, the seed, the light, and Elias's voice calling to her through it. But after that, nothing. Just warmth. Stillness. Like floating in sunlight. Now, as she walked the corridors of the Ark-Line, she saw things no one else did. Reflections moving when she didn't. Patterns of light dancing across the bulkheads, forming the ghost of a familiar face. You shouldn't be here, she whispered to the empty air. And from the silence came a voice like an echo through glass. Neither should you. She froze. Her heart leapt. Elias? The air shimmered. The lights dimmed. His image coalesced before her, translucent, flickering, but unmistakably him. Elias Ward. The man the galaxy executed. The man who became legend, monster, god. You stopped it, she said. The wave, it ended at Echelon. He nodded, faintly. You gave me the chance. When you destroyed the seed, it collapsed the neural lattice. The Ashborn can't spread anymore. But you're still here. Fragments, he said. Echoes of what I was. The rest of me is everywhere. The Ashborn are quiet now. Dreaming, maybe. Waiting. Mara stepped closer, tears welling. What happens to us? To the galaxy? Elias looked toward the viewport. Beyond it, the stars glowed faintly red, the aftermath of so many deaths. They'll rebuild. They always do. The Council is gone. The power chains are broken.
For the first time in millennia, no one's in control. And humanity? He smiled softly. Free. Terrifyingly free. Mara exhaled a laugh that turned to a sob. That's what you wanted all along. Not like this, he said. But freedom rarely asks for permission.
The Arcline's captain reported strange readings, new energy signatures flickering across dead systems.
Planets thought uninhabitable now pulsed with life. Artificial minds awakening. Ecosystems rebuilding at impossible rates. It was as if the Ashborn had left behind seeds of their own, small acts of restoration scattered through the dark. But the Council's survivors saw only danger. Rumors spread of fleets reforming, of factions seeking to claim what was left. The galaxy was holding its breath, teetering between rebirth and ruin. Mara knew the truth, they were all standing in the ashes of gods. One evening, she found Elias waiting for her again, this time by the viewport overlooking the glowing sphere where Echelon Prime once was. You can't stay, she said. You're fading. I know. Then let me bring you back. The research you left notes, code. Maybe if I. No, he interrupted gently. You can't rebuild what I'd become. I'm part of the weave now. Part of them. The Ashborn are not a weapon anymore, Mara. They're the memory of everything we lost. She looked out at the dim amber glow. It's beautiful. It's home, he said quietly. For all of us who never had one. A tear slid down her cheek. I don't want to lose you again. You won't, Elias said. You'll just have to learn to see me differently. He raised his hand. She reached for it. Her fingers passed through light, but warmth lingered, as if his touch still remembered her. Mara, he said, his voice soft as starlight, tell humanity to do better than we did. That's all I ever wanted. Then the light broke apart, his image scattering into motes that drifted through the ship, disappearing one by one. And for the first time since the war began, Mara Keen cried not out of grief, but gratitude. Years passed. The galaxy healed in strange ways. No new council rose to replace the old. Worlds governed themselves. Trade slowly resumed between survivors. And from the ruins of Terran space, ships bearing the old Earth emblem began exploring again, not as soldiers, but as seekers. Mara became a name whispered in reverence, the woman who faced the end and found meaning in it. She spent her remaining years on New Earth, a lush colony grown from ancient soil samples and seeded by Ashborn nanocytes that had rewritten the planet's biology into paradise. Every night she would walk to the ridge overlooking the sea and watch the stars shimmer across the horizon. Among them, one glowed a faint, unwavering amber. Good night, Elias, she'd whisper. Good night, my friend. And somewhere in that distant light, across the neural web of reborn worlds, something vast stirred in reply, a presence both familiar and eternal. Still watching. Centuries later, when the next explorers mapped the outer sectors, they found worlds of impossible beauty, planets that seemed alive, harmonizing with the pulse of their suns. They called the region the Ashborn Expanse. Every world bore fragments of human architecture, alien ruins woven with new life. And at the center of it all, orbiting a quiet amber star, they discovered something extraordinary. A crystalline sphere, half organic, half machine, still pulsing faintly. Inside it, the faint outline of two figures holding hands. Their data log carried one final message, repeating endlessly through the void. From ash, we remembered. From memory, we became. We are the dawn that follows extinction. And so the galaxy turned, not in fire this time, but in light. The day the Council executed a human had indeed turned the galaxy to ash. But from that ash, something greater rose. A testament that no empire, no species, no god could erase. The proof that even at the end of everything, humanity endures.